The boy who gave, young Amika loved his family more than anything. He was the middle child, often quiet, but with a big heart that saw their struggles. His parents worked hard, but money was always tight. His older brother, Chike, was charming and always had grand plans, while his younger sister, Ada, was sweet but often needed help. Amika always wanted to help. When he was just a boy, he started doing odd jobs in their village. He'd run errands for the market women, help the tailor with deliveries, and even tend to a neighbor's small garden. Every kobo he earned, he'd bring home, placing it carefully in his mother's hand. "For the family," he'd say, his eyes bright. His parents would praise him, telling him he was a good son. Chike would clap him on the back, promising to make it big one day and take care of them all. Ada would give him a grateful hug. Amika felt warm inside, happy to be useful, happy to see his family smile. As he grew older, Amika's dedication only deepened. He took on more demanding jobs, working long hours after school and during holidays. He became the family's quiet backbone, the one who always made sure there was enough money for school fees, for medicine when someone was sick, and even for special treats during festivals. If a pipe burst or a roof tile came loose, Amika was the first to grab tools and fix it, often learning as he went. He never complained, just did what needed to be done. He saw their relief, their casual acceptance, and he thought that was enough. He trusted them completely. He believed in Chike's big dreams and Ada's innocence. He believed his parents knew best. Whenever money came in, he handed it over, trusting them to use it for the family's good. He saw them struggling less, saw new clothes appear, and thought his efforts were truly making a difference for everyone, equally. A shifting balance. Years passed. Amika was now a young man, working full-time at the local construction site, hauling heavy loads under the hot sun. He was strong, reliable, and always the first to volunteer for extra shifts. His earnings were substantial for their village, and still, every naira went home. He lived simply, his own clothes often patched, his shoes worn. Meanwhile, things at home seemed to be looking up, but in ways Amika didn't quite understand. Chike, still charming, was now sporting new, flashy shirts, and often disappearing for days, only to return with vague stories of, quote, business opportunities. Ada, who had once been so sweet, was now demanding expensive gadgets and designer fabrics for her clothes, often complaining if she didn't get them. His parents, while still praising Amika, seemed less concerned about the family's shared burdens. They would often tell him not to worry, that things were taken care of. Amika started noticing little things. New furniture appeared that he hadn't contributed to. There was often more expensive food on the table, food he hadn't bought. He once overheard his mother gently chastising Ada for complaining about not having the latest phone, saying, "Be patient, Amika will sort it out, he always does." But when he asked about it, his parents would just smile and say it was just a matter of good fortune. One evening, after a particularly exhausting week, where he'd worked double shifts to cover a sudden medical bill for his father, Amika came home to find a new, gleaming motorcycle parked outside. It was Chika's. His brother grinned, swinging the keys. "Bought it with my business earnings? Isn't she a beauty?" Amika felt a pang, not of jealousy, but confusion. He knew Chike's earnings were sporadic at best, and the family's needs always seemed to outweigh any personal luxuries. He swallowed his questions, forcing a smile for his brother. Then came the day he needed to buy new work boots. His old ones had holes, risking injury. He asked his mother for some of his earnings, just a small amount. She looked surprised, almost annoyed. "But Amika, we just spent so much on Ada's school project. You know how important her education is. Can't you manage a little longer?" Amika nodded, his heart sinking a little. He worked longer, harder, and bought the boots himself, dipping into a tiny hidden stash he kept for emergencies. The pieces were slowly, painfully, starting to fit together. The unveiling truth. The final blow came when Amika's childhood friend Tunde excitedly told him about a scholarship program he was applying for at a technical college in the next town. "You should apply too, Amika," Tunda urged. "They're looking for people with your skills. You could train to be a master mechanic or electrician." A spark ignited in Amika. This was his chance to truly build a future, to gain a skill that would allow him to provide even more securely for his family. He went home, eager to share the news. "Mama, Papa, I want to apply for a scholarship," he announced, his voice filled with a rare excitement. His parents exchanged a quick, uncomfortable glance. "A scholarship?" his father said, sounding less pleased than worried. "But we need you here, Amika, who will work at the construction site." Amika frowned. "But it's a scholarship. It means I wouldn't have to pay for the training. I could come home on weekends." His mother sighed. "It's not just about the money, son. We rely on your earnings every week. How will we manage Ada's school fees?" "Chike's investments?" Ada, who was nearby, piped up. "Yeah, Amika, who'll buy me that new tablet I need for my studies?" Chike, passing through, stopped. "Look, little brother, stick to what you're good at. We need your strong back right now. My big plans are still coming, and then we'll all be comfortable." He gave Amika a condescending pat on the shoulder. It was in that moment, seeing their faces, hearing their excuses, that the full, bitter truth crashed over Amika. It wasn't about his father's medical bills, or Ada's schooling, or Cheek's investments. It was about their comfort, their desires, built squarely on his unending labor. He looked around his home, the new TV, the expensive fabrics Ada wore, the motorcycle gleaming outside, and it all screamed his sacrifice, their luxury. They weren't just accepting his help. They were expecting it, demanding it, and actively blocking his own path forward, all while painting it as family need. The betrayal was complete, chilling him to the bone. A new path. That night, Amika didn't sleep. He saw his future stretching out, an endless path of backbreaking work, with no reward but the fading smiles of a family that had come to see him as a resource, not a person with his own dreams. The thought was unbearable. The next morning he made a decision. It was the hardest thing he'd ever done. He faced his family, his voice shaky but firm. "I'm applying for the scholarship," he said, looking each of them in the eye. "And if I get it, I'm going." His parents protested, trying to use guilt, then anger. Chike scoffed, calling him selfish. Ada cried and pouted. But something had fundamentally shifted in Amika. He wasn't the boy who desperately craved their praise anymore. He had given everything, and they had taken it all without a second thought for him. He owed them nothing more. Amika applied for the scholarship. He studied late into the nights, using borrowed books and the light of a single bulb. He focused on his interview, speaking with a quiet intensity about his desire to learn, to build, not just for others, but for himself. He shared stories of his resilience, his ability to fix things with his hands, his unwavering commitment. And he got in. Leaving was difficult. His family barely spoke to him for weeks, portraying him as ungrateful. But as Amika stepped onto the bus that would take him to the college, leaving the familiar village behind, he felt a lightness he hadn't known in years. He was finally breathing. He worked harder than ever at the college, excelling in his studies. He earned small wages doing odd jobs there, enough to support himself. He sent a small amount home occasionally, just enough to ensure his parents were truly okay, but no more. He learned to save, to plan for his own future. He built a new life, one brick at a time, each brick a testament to his own strength and resilience. Years later, Amika became a highly respected master electrician, running his own successful business in the city. He lived comfortably, having found a quiet joy in building a life he designed. He still loved his family, but from a distance, understanding that true love doesn't take everything and give nothing back. He had overcome the silent, crushing weight of their exploitation, and in doing so, he had found his own strength, his own voice, and a path that was finally, truly, his own.